And I think the university has always fulfilled that ability to move quickly and to respond quickly historically, and it was demonstrated again here.
Great. Final word to you, Murray.
Mm-hmm.
If you could dream in knowledge mobilization technicolor, what kinds of support services for KM would you like to see from the University of Saskatchewan?
Right. Well, I think this runs the whole range. Certainly, what I think is needed at a minimum is some capacity to be able to just generally hook up researchers with people that from various parts of the community that are coming to the university looking for something, and they're not quite sure what it is, and they're wondering, is there anybody at the university that has that capacity? And so I think that's on the one hand that's important, but I think that's sort of very almost impersonal. These are sort of anonymous people trying to get connected up in some way. And then you move through to the other sort of, I don't know if extreme, but the other sort of end of the spectrum, along the lines of what Jim and I have been talking about again this morning, where this is a much more sort of built on personal relationships. But what's really required, and Jim put his finger on it as he was describing this process, the knowledge mobilization, at least in my mind, really has to be part of some kind of institutional and organizational change that's going on in society. Jim was describing this. This is there's a need for government today to change some of their processes around how they evaluate. Jim's talking about environmental programs, but we can go across the board on almost any issue. This process is extraordinarily difficult. And one of the reasons is that, like any large bureaucracy, government is very, very difficult to move. And in some places, so are universities on certain issues. And what you need, if you really want to be involved in being able to get change to happen, is you need little places where new ideas can be brought out, they can be experimented with, somebody can pick them up quickly, take a look at them, see if they work, get a little bit of a foothold in, and then they can start to, if they're successful, then they can start to spread. But without that, nothing's going to happen other than very, very slowly. So it's sort of stepping back and saying, what do we need to create this kind of organizational change more broadly? And I think these KISS-type projects are, and I say type projects because I know that there's lots of other initiatives along this line, but these are the sorts of things that are required, where there's little bits of seed money that are available that researchers and partners could access to be able to float ideas in a way that's non-threatening to government. Universities, in my experience, are a great place to be able to throw up ideas, get them tested, see how they blow in the wind, and then the government can come along afterwards and say, okay, well that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Maybe we can actually go a little bit further with this. In other cases, the topic will be thrown up and it's pretty clear, nope, we can't do that. But we need these places for experimentation, and so for me. That's what knowledge mobilization really needs, is this ability to, as I said earlier, researchers, partners, to be able to access some funds, be able to put on whatever is called for at that particular time, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a slightly larger conference, whether it's some more intensive kind of dialogue processes that's going on. Always involving not only the government, in the stuff that I'm doing, not only government, but all these ancillary organizations, because they're often the ones, as Jim's nicely described, that actually have the power to be able to start to do things. And once they start to do things, then other people have to start to fill in the gaps where where they're acting. So it's really being active and being action oriented, rather than seeing just knowledge as sort of passing. You see knowledge, yes, moving, and it's moving in both directions, but it's moving because there's a purpose in mind, and that purpose is some kind of change within the organizational structure.
Right, great. Well, I just want to thank both of you for your time and insights into knowledge mobilization and the work that both of you do to ensure research has a positive impact on our society and our government policies. And I wish you both continued success in your research and the dialogues wherever they may occur and with whomever. Thanks very much.
Thank you.